This is In the Dirt with ASOTU.
Alan Krutsch,
Good
sitting
morning.
down and talking in front of a microphone. We do a lot of talking, not always in front of a microphone.
That's right.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today.
My pleasure.
All right, so we've talked about a lot of things.
Look, this is what I want to ask Alan,
He's
because
got a question,
I've got a question, because what I appreciate you is there's none of the BS. You always kind of level set the industry, and it's like we walk through conferences or conversations or kind of modes and changes in the industry, or you're talking about someone asks you about digital retailing and marketing, and you're like, look, here's the thing. So we've gone through Modern Retail Conference. We've got GA4 happening, CDPs, connected retailing, online to offline. Where's the level set for the industry? Like where do we kind of like look at it and go, okay, just calm down just a minute. Here's the level set as we head into 2023 and not getting too anxious about all of this.
Yeah, so this is the time when I wish I was a little more clever, because that is a big question. Here's what's on my mind right now is we're in a period of really remarkable change, and I think that starts at the OEM level in terms of the retail models that they want to see. And I get it. I understand when you're the CEO of an OEM and you're looking at Tesla's multiple,
Like 50-something?
right, versus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on
Yeah.
a good day for a legacy manufacturer. These CEOs report to a board and report to shareholders, and that's on their mind only about 24 hours a day. Now, they look at the experience that Tesla delivers. There's only one website. It looks the same in all 50 states to all of their customers. And so they have this legacy franchise system that has served them really well and does a whole bunch of things really well, particularly servicing cars, particularly taking care of customers that may not have the credit profile that a Tesla customer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's
No one ever talks about that.
no. I mean, Tesla, of course, is a remarkable success story. But when you look at the nuts and bolts of selling a car, if all of your customers are rich and the car they're buying is their second or third,
And they don't really need it to work all the time or be available all the time.
and they can wait a month for it, that's a lot different than a high-volume Chevy or Toyota dealer that's got people that are
great level
going
set.
to work on Monday and need a car, need financing that fits into their monthly budget. So we've got all that going on. We've got the transition to digital retail, and here's something that struck me. Kevin Fry at the Weiler Group, they did some interesting research, and Kevin admits this isn't science.
Yeah, right.
We
actually had him on, talked
Yeah.
about it a little bit.
And I think that's awesome. And it said that a lot of their customers aren't that interested in buying online. But I always go back to how do we create the survey? Because if we go back 17 years, and let's look at the imaginary survey that says, would you like to buy a cell phone without buttons?
Yeah.
99 of
Jobs
customers would
said
say,
we should.
No, that's
no.
crazy. How am I going to operate with that? Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go far.
Pretty stark
I'm going to go
example.
far afield here, and I'm eventually going to answer your question. But here's something that's interesting. Look at Link and Company, LY.
Link & Co., yeah.
Yeah, Link & Co. Look at a Link 01 for sale in Europe. Kind of no options. It's just kind of a cool mid-size SUV. 500 euros a month for a subscription.
Yep.
Car insurance, maintenance.
Yeah.
Turn it back when you want, or finance it and buy it, or borrow it, rent it.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting to me about this model is the trouble with subscriptions is, what do you do with the used car?
Absolutely.
Okay, now
It's the inventory. How do you manage all that?
Now let's bring in another thought, which is cars are rolling computers on 4 tires. What if Link is managing that like Apple manages trade-in iPhones? So let's say,
Absolutely.
So let's say I've got this $500 a month subscription, and in 6 months I turn it in. I want to do something else. Link & Co. has that car back, And instead of taking it to an auction and taking it in for getting a real whooping at the auction, they do a little reconditioning, and that's now a $389 per month.
It's not brand new.
Not brand new, but what the heck?
It's like leasing a certified vehicle almost, right?
Exactly. So all of these models kind of roll up to the manufacturer. I think the dealers are kind of ready to go, but we need to simplify the product line. We need to simplify the communication, and then the future that we've all been talking about, digital retail, faster transactions in store, are going to happen.
So you're saying complexity is what we're really fighting right now?
Yeah, and I think, I'm just kind of inspired by this idea, and I think Mary Barra, among others, are talking about it, that, it's not a car anymore, it's a platform, it's a computer on wheels, et cetera, et cetera. Those are really simple now, When we look at a Apple iPhone or something, you don't have 42 different options.
I still don't, it's a computer on wheels. It's not.
Well, because all of them
It's not.
suck at being computers on wheels.
Even so, a computer doesn't whisk you through reality at 80 miles an hour, right? It doesn't smell if your kid pukes in it, right? There's just, it's just different.
You can't haul lumber in your computer.
You can't forget it at home, right? So, I understand the principle, but still, every time I hear that, I'm like, no, it's not really. I mean, you used the cell phone example, and you're like, who wants a cell phone without buttons? You remember when you had to go into a store and deal with a salesperson to buy a cell phone?
Oh, absolutely.
It sucked so bad.
No, it's horrible. Even today, you go into a Verizon store. I mean,
Right, it hasn't gotten much better.
No.
And especially when back in the beginning, we didn't know a lot about them. They were very complex. The plans were complex, right? You get this plan or this plan. This is free minutes and this is paid minutes.
You know what's crazy? It actually takes about as long to buy a cell phone in a store as it takes to buy a car at many dealerships.
If you go in a store,
How
it's
nuts
miserable.
is that?
It is miserable.
But I can buy an iPhone in 3.5 minutes.
yeah.
Well, you can buy them pretty fast in the store, too.
Even if it's not
you
an
want a lot
iPhone.
of storage, not too much storage, a good camera or a great
That's
camera.
true. It's like
and what
levels of
color.
simplicity.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not an iPhone, I haven't bought not an iPhone in a really long time.
Right. Yeah, that's
but,
true.
when you're scrolling through the non-iPhone options, I just want to get to the iPhones, but it's still way faster and way more clear because the plans have gotten simpler.
Yeah.
The financing's gotten simpler.
Yep.
And still that process online still by far beats an in-store experience.
Yeah.
And so simplicity is key, and that comes to the customer experience, the product line, all of those type of things. Just getting the riffraff out of the thing is really important, in your opinion.
And I think it goes to the marketing, too, which is a lot of what we're talking about at this conference, is that, if we want to oversimplify, we've got two kinds of marketing. You got item price. I have this car, it's red, it sells for X, or it has a payment of Y. And then you have brand marketing. And brand marketing, although isn't getting any easier, it's getting in some ways a little simpler. And it's about really inbound marketing and creating content and attracting people to your web properties, attracting people to your social properties.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the way I've been thinking about it is everything is brand. Your content, your look and feel, your attitude, and then you have some sort of item price advertising, which is now moved into the database marketing, is understanding your segments and putting the right offer at the right time in front of them.
All right.
There we go. We've oversimplified a very complex business.
It's just a couple things, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. You'll
only
be
do
fine.
that. If we could just do that,
Well,
we'd all be fine.
but my way of thinking is, we start with the high level and simplify. Yeah, there's some details here in terms of running a customer data experience platform. There's some details in running that. But, as a dealer starts to look at their budgeting, they go, okay, let's take a model like Target. Target spends 30% on brand, 70% on
the mix.
item price.
Yeah.
We're going to sell Kleenex 6 boxes for $2 or whatever they're doing. And then the rest is cute dogs with little circles
Spots.
around their eyes.
Yeah,
And
spot.
Yeah. So we start with that, a big budget. Then we start with how are we going to create that brand, that content? How are we going to make that consistent? And then after that, we put a good offer in front of the right customer at the right time. Not easy, but the concept's simple.
And it works.
Works.
And it's proven to work in just about every industry that's tried it.
That's right. And so,
Not a big deal.
I guess the other thing that I would say is that besides the urgency to get work done, what we also have to think about is consistency. The best marketers find a message, find a method, and they do it over and over and over. And as marketers, as people that are creative, I know I always want to go to the next thing. I did something yesterday. Now, I was excited yesterday. I'm bored today. Let's do something different. And,
Always.
And we always
I don't relate to that comment at all. That's why we have so many
we don't
podcasts.
have many podcasts or anything like that.
And we also have to remember that, with the tens of thousands of messages hitting a consumer, they haven't digested what you did yesterday.
Yeah,
Do
not
it.
a chance.
Do it for some
Do it a
months or
couple
some
times,
years.
please. Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. So last question, heading kind of into 2023, I know that you have just a broad scope of the way that you look. I want to know, especially with Fuse and what you all are doing and how you're interacting with dealers and encouraging dealers. Like what's the move in 2023 and the encouragement or the next steps for you all?
So for us, what we're really focused on is this anomaly. And the anomaly is that retail automotive is the last major retail vertical that does not have a point of sale system. And so point of sale systems, whether we start with something as simple as buying a coffee and a donut, this is where efficiency starts in the transaction. When I buy the coffee, when I order the donut, I don't want somebody goofing around, walking back somewhere to the cash register trying to figure it out. It pops up on the screen. Okay, I get it. Much simpler transaction than a car. But there's a model there that says we can put this on one screen and we can make this a really efficient transaction. The other thing that happens with a point of sale system, and I believe it happens, coffee and a donut, buying an iPhone, or buying a car with Fuse, is that this is where trust begins. When you start with that point of sale system and the computer's telling you that's the car, that's the payment, that's the rate, that's a much different experience.
Not a pencil on the back of a sales sheet?
$439 on approved credit today, exclamation mark.
Asterisk. Right. I think just by calling it a point of sale system, I think you clear so much up because we all know exactly what that means.
Yep.
A point of sale system for automotive. Alan, always generous with your time. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today and getting us to laugh a little bit as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching this episode of In the Dirt with ASOTU. If you're new to our channel, make sure and mash that like and subscribe button. Also, check out some of these links for our other great podcasts and content.